This is example 3 from lesson R.2. We have 5 examples here where we're supposed to simplify these radical problems. Okay. In A, we have the cube root of negative 125. If you come off to the side over here and you break down 125, we know that this is 5 times 25. 5 is a prime number. 25 can be broken down into 5 times 5. Those are also prime numbers. And since our index here is 3, I need to have 3 of the same number. I have 3 5s. And since I've used up the 3 5s by bringing one out into the front, there's nothing left over. I don't need the radical any longer. And then, of course, since it's negative, my answer is going to be a negative 5 out here. Now, this only works when your index out here is an odd number. If it's even, then something else happens entirely. All right. In B, what we're going to do is, instead of trying to divide 121 into 144, because that's not going to be a very nice number, I'm going to separate this into the square root of 144 divided by the square root of 121. And I'm going to do that because I know the square root of 144, it's 12. And I know the square root of 121, it's 11. And then if I could reduce this fraction, now would be the time to do so. But this one is actually in its final form there, so we're going to leave that one alone. C is actually one that we would be doing in the calculator. And if we wanted to put this in the calculator, then we would put it in as 0.1, 2, 3, 4. And then we would find that little key right there that's called the caret into the 1/5 power. And when you put that into the calculator, you will get 0.1. All right, now for D, I notice that I have an index of 6. I also have a negative number underneath the radical. Well, this is actually not a real number, so this has no real solutions. If the index were odd, then we would just bring that negative on out into our answer here, out from underneath the radical. But because that index right there is an even number, 6 is even, we know that we can't take the square root or any other even root of a negative number. So there, it has solutions, but they're complex. They're not actually real numbers. Okay, for D, now we actually have the negative on the outside of the radical. That's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this part of the problem right here first, and then we're going to take the opposite of it, or multiply it by -1. So I'm going to come over here, and I am going to break down 64. Now remember, I'm looking for 6 of the same thing. So I know 64 is actually 8 times 8. And this 8 I know to be 4 times 2. This is a prime number. And this 8 is also 4 times 2. And this is a prime number. But this 4 can actually break down again into 2 times 2. And this 4 can also break down again into 2 times 2. And now I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2's, which means that the 6th root of 64 is 2. And because I have used up all of my prime numbers, there's nothing left over, I don't need to have the radical any longer. And then remember what I said we're going to do, once we simplified this, we're going to multiply it by this negative out here by -1. So my answer is going to be -2.